I have many friends on Facebook, 478. Some people have well over 1,000, but not one is a friend. They are at most friendly acquaintances. Half of them are Indian requests for some reason, and it has to do with scams, of course, because India's GDP is partly based on scam call center businesses and other scams. See my videos on how Hindus may deal with it. My last post on Facebook thus far, and I have Facebook because my job requires it, I wouldn't do it otherwise. Well, actually, yeah, at this time in my life I wouldn't do it otherwise. The last post that has no likes, but the one that did have likes had like 3 likes, and it was just a video of me with my daughter playing with her. And one of those likes was from someone I met in person who is actually not a friend, just a friendly acquaintance, and sometimes not friendly at all. The Bible defines a friend as one who loves at all times, including during adversity. A friend is like a brother. Eat thou not the bread of him that hath an evil eye, neither desire thou his dainty meats. For as he thinketh in his heart, so is he. Eat and drink, saith he to thee, but his heart is not with thee. The morsel which thou hast eaten shalt thou vomit up, and lose thy sweet words. Speak not in the ears of a fool, or he will despise the wisdom of thy words. Fake friends are like shadows. They follow you in the sun, but leave you in the dark. There are a lot of videos about people who declare they have no friends. So I can see I'm not the only one who has very few, if any, friends. He says, he shows how sad he is about that. Me, well, I actually like solitude. However, the more the merrier. And sharing is better than just being alone. Although I am used to being alone, so I can be happy being alone, and I actually love the peace of mind from being alone and not having to listen to music that I don't like, listening only to what I like, and going only where I want, if God permits. That I very much love. But I remember in Miami I would have my conquistador armor and I would ride my bike all over the place and go really fast and feel epic, and it was awesome. I loved it. I felt so free despite being poor. But after that was over, it was just vanity. What good was it? Like Solomon said, vanity, vanity, all is vanity. And I was like, it would be great if I could share this with others, but alas, mankind is shit and almost no one is worthy of being a friend. And that includes me in the past when I have failed. So I'm not saying I'm holier than thou, necessarily. I mean, there are cases where I am holier than someone, but aren't we all holier than someone? I have no friends, it's a trend and worse. A lot of videos about this. And these are people who are not ugly, who are not nerds. I have a lot of defects. I'm scrawny, genetically. Although my legs are buff, I'm really weird. But some people, when you see me, they think I'm a normal person until they get to know me better. Then they're like, oh, he's so weird. Now, Far From Weak is a very interesting channel that uses this weird Antichrist symbol from anti-creationist propaganda called God of War. And this video is very good. I don't agree with everything they say, but video is very good. It's worth a watch. They define a friend as someone who's willing to die for you. So that's the biblical definition, in other words. Oh, and I didn't include this in the slideshow. I forgot. I'm glad I thought about this now. People who will belittle me because I have no friends, or practically no friends. I actually do have friends, just very few. They're hypocrites because you also don't have friends. You see, the thing is, you don't have real friends. You have fake friends. But I don't live a lie, you do. So you're pathetic, guys who laugh at me because you fit in with the drunkards in your bar. I don't want to fit into that shit world that you fit into because you have shitty low standards. You're not superior to me. You're inferior. Anyway, no, they wouldn't die for you, so they're not your real friends. You actually believe they would die for you? Of course you don't. Or if you do, you're really stupid because there's no reason they should die for you, is there? If you're just maggots, like atheists believe humans essentially are, just accidents and beasts. No, you wouldn't die for someone if they're just giving you some company that's easily replaceable by any other person from the street. Don't be naive, don't be so deluded. You have no friends, don't look down on people who see reality for what it is, and don't live a lie like you do. They would throw you under the bus to save their skins, and you know it. If you don't know it, then you're stupider than I thought. Now look at these quotes about friendship. Stop texting first and see how many dead plants you've been watering. La amistad que acaba nunca empezó. The friendship that ends never began. Gold is proved in the fire, friendship in need. Genuine people respect everyone. Fake, of course, not always. Like this is a generalization. I mean, if someone wants to murder your wife, you should kill them, and that is very disrespectful to them, but they deserve it, and you should do it, if that is the only way to save your beloved. So fake people, they respect only those with power so they can get advantages in life. They are parasites. Ye are my friends, if ye do whatsoever I command you, is how Jesus defines Christians. So if you don't obey Jesus, you're not a Christian, and you're not his friend. You're a fake friend, and what does he do to his fake friends? He's going to burn them forever, because he is the creator, and he has to deal with his creation and judge his creation. And he doesn't want anyone who is selfish and a parasite, like most people are, and like I used to be. So, when Jesus did miracles, many believed in his name, and they followed him because he gave them fish and stuff. But Jesus did not commit himself unto them because he knew all men. In other words, Jesus was not their friend because he didn't trust them. He needed not that any should testify of man, for he knew what was in man. And said unto them, Why sleep ye? Rise and pray, lest ye enter into temptation. And while he yet spake, behold, a multitude, and he that was called Yehuda, one of the 12, went before them, and drew near unto Yeshua to kiss him. But Yeshua said unto him, Yehuda, betrayest thou Ben Adam with a kiss? Betrayal, you traitor swine, evil Mario. You know, he represents the Antichrist up on the video in the Mario universe, and Yoshi represents dinosaurs, of course, and they never existed. But the point of this is that this is, Judas. This is Jesus, but Jesus resurrects. So Judas is gonna, Judas killed himself. He knew what he did was really, really stupid. Betraying the giver of life means you don't deserve to live. Atheists, you hear that? And you know it's true. I didn't lose a friend. I just realized that I never had one. Interesting quote. Very sad. My first best friend, now this is more personal. My first best friend and I lost our connection because I moved out of Honduras. I would eventually see him again, but barely know him and share a few interests. I excommunicated him because he's a heretic, by the way. My best friend in he's a hypocrite who cherry-picks the Bible. My best friend in elementary school was Ephraim. I remember his name. He saw I had no Pokemon cards. Pokemon, by the way, is of the devil, and maybe I'll do a video on that. My family was not as rich as most in the USA, so my parents saved money. They didn't buy me too many toys, like Pokemon crap. Which in hindsight was good because Pokemon is of the devil. Anyway, so he gave me his Caterpie card. Caterpie is the lowest level Pokemon, basically. It's a pathetic little worm. But he gave me a card, and he didn't have to. He felt bad for me. He pitied me. He showed me some love. So, he was a friend. In 5th grade, back when I was not yet a Christian, to fit in I kicked a boy on the floor because other kids did. This didn't. Yeah, I was evil and deserved to die. No, thank God Jesus saved me from that and paid for my sins. This didn't achieve any friendship as I was a nerd rejected by almost all. So I kicked them for no good reason. Of course, I didn't even achieve what I wanted, which was to fit in. In high school I became a Christian, and this led to even more reasons for not having friends, as I had higher standards than my peers who were drunkards, fornicators, liars, materialistic, proud, selfish, etc. If you were of the world would love his own, unless you're a nerd. Then they reject you, but then you can fit in with the sinner nerds. But I couldn't because I was not into Yu-Gi-Oh, so I didn't fit in with them. Anyway, but because you're not of the world, but I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hateth you. One time in high school, a guy I thought was my friend because I would laugh with him sometimes spoke with others about his coming birthday, so I asked him for the party information, his address, and the date. But he was very reluctant to give it. Eventually, he gave up and just gave it. I regret trying to be his friend. I wish I didn't even look at him, in hindsight. In the party, he would end up getting pushed into his pool by one of the guys he had apparently invited. So the one he rejected respected him, but the one he accepted was a jerk to him. Like the stone that the builders rejected has become the cornerstone type thing. See, the one you reject is the one you shouldn't reject if you're a selfish piece of shit like that guy. I forgive you, but that's what you are, you're a piece of shit. You know, you care only about advancing yourself in social status. That's what you're all about, you selfish piece of shit. In university, I met a Puerto Rican Taino guy who one time saw me look hungover due to computer addiction, lacking sleep. I was backsliding, and he smiled. Later, he, being a barista, invited me to his workplace for beer. I had told him that I would not be getting drunk, for I refused to ever get drunk, and have never in my life gotten drunk nor intend to. I hate drunkards. And he said he wouldn't seek it, but he lied. Now, I didn't judge him for being a drunkard. I just said I don't want to get drunk. So, I don't go out of my way to judge people. And if you attack me, which people on YouTube always do, that's when I can judge you back. Because if you slander me, I can point out you're a liar. But I don't do this in person randomly. This isn't nor online randomly. It's always because they attack me. Anyway, at the bar, he introduced me to his friend who was sitting and drinking. His friend was a connoisseur of beer who tasted or collected many kinds. So I said, then it's like Pokemon? I wasn't mocking him. I was just saying it's similar to Pokemon because you gotta catch them all, It's a little joke. It's not a big deal. But they took offense to this. My barista friend said with a poker face, yeah, it's like Pokemon. I offended them unintentionally. They were spineless, though. Gross spine people, man. Liberals. Then my barista so-called friend said he had somewhere to be and left me alone with his drunkard pal. I had been given beer to drink and a little bit more, but I had to stop when my eyes felt weird. He had failed to get me drunk to see me act like a clown for his own entertainment, being the false friend that he was. Now I have a minute left, so I'm just going to say that I was always alone, and I would walk for miles alone, and I enjoyed my solitude. I would sing, I would listen to music or whatever, but it's pretty sad at the same time. I ain't gonna lie about it, but it's still better than having bad company, that's for sure. So I married a woman who always treated me like shit. Fake friend, bitch she is, I hate her, and I'm still merciful to her. But she is what she is. She's not a pearl. I gave my pearls to that swine. One time I was wearing conquistador armor. I went to a credit union, in other words, like a bank, and I saw a guy there from high school I hadn't seen in a long time. I said, Danny, hey, and he ignored me. That piece of shit ignored me. And I remember that in high school he was called a sellout because he would leave the group he was in, where I was, to be with people who were more popular. So he was called a sellout. Some things never change, so you can pause and read if you want. So I realized that trying to be friends with people is pointless. Better alone than with bad company. I care from a distance. Draw nigh to God, and He will draw nigh to you. So you can pause and read. I have 10 seconds left. 2 seconds left. Oh crap, oh crap.